Happy Monday, everyone. Happy last Monday in June. I am super excited. I have another guest who's going to be joining me in just a minute. So let's see if I can get a hold of him. I'm also going to tag some people into the room. I said, wow, into the room, like I'm on Clubhouse. I'm here on Instagram. So yes, I'm going to tag some more people in. Hey, you received the journal today? Awesome. How is it? How is it? I'm so happy. I want to know how you enjoy it. Let's see here. I'm going to invite some people. Let's see, where did he go? I'm going to be chatting with Jahan. Let's see. He should be joining us. So, there you are. Hey, Jahan. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can request you. Yep, I can invite you. Hey.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Well, I can't complain. One day at a time, Can you see me? How am I looking?
You're looking a little grainy. It's kind of got, maybe you need more light.
Hold on a minute, all right? Let me see.
So I'm trying to also just invite some people to join our live as well.
Okay.
So I'm doing that. But yes, so Jahan, did you know that June is men's mental health awareness month?
I definitely did. It's funny. I did an event about 3 years ago. It was called Embrace the Rain. It was dedicated to mental health, African American mental health and mental health in general. And the event, had a slew of people from Pharaoh March to Dina Molina, a lot of influential people, and we basically, did a whole dedication to it. So I'm definitely aware. It was pretty interesting that was actually the subject matter because I saw that was the case when you made the post, and I'm like, yeah, it is. So kudos to you.
It is, yes, and it's the last Monday in June, so you're gonna
Crazy.
close us out with some
I love
tips,
it.
and I'm so
Yes.
excited to chat with you. Yes,
Likewise, I definitely am, and it's a thing I know a thing or two about. So it's going to be nice to converse and keep it going.
yes. So I met you about a month ago, a little over a month ago, in
Hmm.
Stanford at
Yep.
Brandon's Warm Heart Life event.
Yeah,
And
it was great.
yeah, and it's been good
Okay.
chatting with you. I did want to do like a quick intro for people who don't know who you are, but I'm gonna
Hmm.
have you talk mostly about yourself. So you're an artist,
Yes.
and you are also between Stanford and Mount Vernon, so you're like New York, Connecticut.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and you have a new album coming out because that's what we chatted
Hmm.
about a little bit when I
Hmm.
met you in
Hmm.
Stanford was you have
Hmm.
a new album soon to be
Yes.
released.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. It's called Violet Skies. Hmm.
Violent Sky?
Violet Skies. Yes.
Oh, Violet
Hmm.
Skies. Yes.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
yeah, tell people a little bit more about yourself, your journey on becoming a successful independent artist because I know that's a little bit rough. I know people give up and
Yeah.
quit, and you are
Yeah.
not one of those people.
No, definitely not. But it's been an interesting journey. Um, you know, I I basically, like you said, I'm from Stanford and Mount Vernon. Great segue. I started in the industry at about age 13, 14, I had a independent deal with a label called BMX Entertainment, which was based out of Brooklyn. There was a guy, Morris, who was the head CEO. I was doing a lot of mixtapes, doing the hip hop culture, consistently. I grew up around it. It was in my environment. I was around DJs, so many things. So I'm basically, long story short, I was signed to an independent label, 14. I kind of learned the business through that. I did a lot of what we called mixtapes, in the late 90s, early 2000s. And basically I learned the business that way. I think it gave me I always tell people I started at that age. I was doing and writing poetry since like 9 and 8 and crazy stuff like that. But when I was 13 or 14, the reason why I always wait to tell people is because that's when it became a business for me. I actually was on vinyl when I was 14, on a song. I had a song called The Shorty, that basically talked about, culture, me being young. I had my whole image. They painted an image for me. There were so many things that I started to do. And coming out of, Connecticut, I was going back and forth to New York to this place called Planet Studios. And it gave me the experience of being a true artist. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
it was very, very interesting. And it was something that I would say gave me an idea of the business. I was released from that label when I was about 15 or 16, and I immediately started doing mixtapes. And I started to get popular in high school, very popular. Lunch tables, I started doing talent shows. And by the time I was 18 or 19, I had an independent record, My Gift, out, and I had a fan base. And then I went down to North Carolina. I went to school. I met with, people like Little Brother, Ninth Wonder, a lot of people that, kind of they're in the industry now in hip hop, and they kind of shaped a lot of stuff that I was able to help me shape a lot of stuff. And then I just started to grow, and I just really got a very strong fan base, and the rest has been history. I put out numerous albums, numerous mixtapes. JahanNoshi.com if you want to check anything out. And I have songs with a lot of industry insiders and also very strong independent artists. Done a lot of shows all over the country, and outside the country. So it's been a blessing. Work with all types of photographers, and really work. And I really do have a solid team. A lot of people I grew up with, and people that build with me to be an independent artist. So I know that was kind of long-winded, but I think it was important to mention those key factors. There's a lot more, but I mean, as far as being an independent artist, I think those are some of the key factors. A great team of friends, great team of people. I've been doing it a very long time, you know.
Yeah. Wow. I was looking through your page and you have a post from not that long ago and you're with a
Hmm.
boombox, and you've got your
Yeah.
tape and you were putting it in. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
those were fun
Yeah.
days. With
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, some of it is
Yeah.
nostalgia because, when you look at it right now, what I call essence hip hop is in full effect. And the essence hip hop, when I put those tapes in, I'm playing. If you look at the songs I'm playing, some of those songs are from early 2000s, 1998. It's like a lot of my fans like that. They like to see where you come
Mm,
from and
yeah.
then know where you're at now. But of course, now I got the newest, Violet Skies features, Rakim, Sun Tamel, this guy Rex. That's the dedication song you see. That's the first single from the album, just to catch up to speed, where I say that line that you like.
Okay. Yes, I want
Yeah.
to talk about that in a little bit, but not quite
Hmm.
yet. Yes.
Cool.
Um, what one thing that stood out to me too when you were talking about how you got started, you said you started writing poetry when you were 8 or 9. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of times people grow up and they forget what they did or they
Hmm.
enjoyed or they loved
Yeah, that's
when they were
true.
children, and then they're lost and they're like, well, why am I not happy? Why is my life not fulfilling? What's my purpose? But
Hmm.
it's those things that we do when we're children that we get fulfillment in. You were writing
Hmm.
from the beginning, and now you still are.
Yeah, that's true. Well said. I agree. I think, you know, even with mental health and with pride in yourself and loving yourself, you have to do what you love. It's a
Mm-hmm.
fulfillment. It's a fulfillment, and that's with anything. If it's cooking, if it's writing, if it's photography, if it's meditation, whatever it is that brings peace to your soul, do that. I think a lot of times, especially in art, any art, it's a release, it's a ventilation.
Yep.
You know, secretly, I wouldn't tell the business people this, but I don't do art for money. You know, I do it for the passion, but the money comes.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to do that. But if I didn't have that, you talk about what made me last this long time. If I didn't have the that passion, I wouldn't be here. I would have quit a long time ago,
Right.
especially independent. I would have been done. I would have been done. You know what I mean? You know, I think the passion is what keeps you going. And that's what I talk about with Brandon. That's why how I got on, you know, he connected me from the live at fire. That's how I got on, you know, to do the conversation, to actually sit there and do the poetry, the mind of a billionaire I did there, which is another true story, but that's a whole other story. But
That
you
was
know,
so cool.
yeah, so but that's how I did it because, you know, just we're always about the consistency of the passion. So that's it, you know. It's the only way to survive.
Yes. Well, yes, actually, well, I don't really want to spoil for people who've never heard the poem, but that poem about the billionaire has to do with love.
Yeah. Yeah, which
Yeah.
is ironic. Yeah, which is
We
ironic
don't,
because and I really do know a billion. I mean, it's a true story as
yeah.
well. You know, I that's another thing I did work, and that's another form of my independence. You know, I worked in finance for many years since I was 17, 18 years old. So,
Cool.
in addition to doing the music, but yep, go ahead.
So yes, so I'm curious, of course, this is something I ask everyone that I chat with. How do you
Mhm.
define love? And um, you know, in the poem you talk about love for a billionaire, but also just in
Mhm.
general, how do you define love? And how has that changed, or has that changed for you over time? You know, from
Um,
when you were a teenager to now, and
mhm.
yeah, so share a little bit about that.
No problem. I do think love changes. I think love is a, you know, a different definition to different people. Some people, you know, they see love as protection. Some
Mm-hmm.
people, they see love as this tender, soft, sensitive, you know, understanding, listening type of thing. Some people see love as, uh, you know, the empowerment of the heart in any way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a combination um, of many things, all of those things. But overall, love is unselfish. Love is selfless. Love is precious. It's patient. It's
Yeah.
kind. It's caring. It's understanding. Um, you know, and these are not cliches. I mean, people, you know, people are like, you know, oh, well, that's what people just say. But when it's a feeling. When you feel it, you know, and you initiate these things, whether in a relationship or friends. Like when you say the billionaire love, yeah, I spoke on love because that the love I had for him as a friend was
Mm-hmm.
way higher than any love or thought that I had for him as I didn't never think of him as a billionaire. You
Yeah.
know, it was the love I had for him as an individual that, you know, I mean, you know, I was
Uh-oh, you're
at,
breaking up.
oh, I am? Hold on, can you, how about now? Let me
Yeah.
move around.
Yeah,
Are we
you're
good?
good again. Yep.
Okay. Yeah,
Perfect.
love is acceptance. I think he was very
Mm.
he was a person I looked up to, and I think at the time, you know, sometimes kids are harsh, and you know, acceptance can be, you know, a little tough. And as a young kid, he was somebody that always said to me, you know, yo, you're doing well, keep doing this. He was a mentor. He was a mentor.
Mm.
So that can be love as well. You know, those are
Yeah.
so many different forms. But overall, I think it's embracing someone in such a way that you're selfless about it, no matter what the case. Love in a relationship, love in a friendship, love of a craft, whatever it is, it takes sacrifice.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was just thinking. Because, like, as an artist, right, you have love for something, but then you have to, then to be able to maintain it,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
there are people who don't appreciate,
Yeah.
they don't see the vision.
Facts.
Or there's those people who are like, oh, he's gonna be big time, he's gonna
Yeah.
make it, I'm gonna show him love,
Hmm.
just more
Yeah.
selfishly
Selfish.
motivated. So
Yeah. Yeah. So
how do you maintain that love,
I
particularly for yourself, especially in terms of like self-love, with all the ups and downs that come as an artist? How do you keep it going?
well, it's hard. That's a fact. But authenticity is few and far between. I mean, I think people underestimate the people. I think you can feel it. I think like people can feel when it's fake love. They can
Mm,
feel like it's kind of like, all right. And after a while, if you watch individuals or they watch, you watch each other, I think if you listen hard enough, I think things will reveal itself. So,
yeah.
yeah, you get some of that, but you also I think there's a lot more real love. But the thing about it is, it's not easy. It's not easy to be unselfish and to just be somebody that's, oh, I can depend on this person. Overall, I think the real goal for everybody is to love yourself and to do as
Yes.
much as you can on your own and not expect it. And then you'll get the right people that will
Yeah.
show you the love you need. That is the key. You
Yes.
gotta, you gotta, and that's what I think we have a problem with as a mental, awareness month. You have a lot of people that just can't really get, we're all imperfect. We all have our
Right.
issues, but you got to love yourself in spite of, you know what I mean? You are enough. You are enough. So
Yes.
I think that that's key. And then you get the love because once you treat yourself like that, people are forced you're going to have a glow. You're going to have
Yeah.
a glow and that glow will force people to treat you with the love that's supposed to come because it's like you're not going to accept nothing else. They're going to feel the aura. They're going to feel the vibe, if you will, coming from you that states, yeah, I ain't just somebody you just going to throw around. I'm somebody that, you got to respect and love because I respect and love myself. That's it.
Yes. Yes. It's so true. I feel like you said so many things because, yeah, if we're throwing ourselves around, right, we don't
Hmm.
have boundaries for how we're treating ourselves, then we don't have boundaries for how others are. So then, and you were talking about expectations too, right? So
Hmm.
sometimes
Yes.
we have these expectations and we expect the respect, but we don't always get it. We don't always get the respect or the love. So it's not about holding on to that, right? It's
No.
more about like
Yeah.
having those boundaries. Oh, okay, well then you can just be over here as my fake fan, or like you can
Yeah.
be an acquaintance. I'm going to say hi to you when I see you out and about on the
Yeah.
street, but you're
Right.
not coming
Right.
over
Right.
for dinner.
Exactly, exactly. And where I'm from, especially in the inner city and a lot of other places, I don't know if this is true of everyone, but in my experience, that's we kind of have a spidey sense for that.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I think, not saying no one else doesn't, but I just think
Yeah.
like there's a lot of that in the environment that I come from. So now more in as I've elevated, it's easy to detect in corporate. It's easy to detect in many places because as a youth, it was just something that an instinct and a common sense thing that I kind of built up. You know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even get, I don't really get upset about it because I have love for myself. And, I don't know what everyone else, what people deal with, that's why I say as long as you love yourself, that's what it's all about because there's certain people that they're missing something. You know what I mean? They might
Yeah.
be missing and they need that shine or they need to feel validated in some way. And unfortunately, they haven't learned how to really do it right. Because to get true love, just reciprocate the love, the real love that you're putting out there. I work with so many artists, I've worked with industry people, I've worked with all types of individuals as an independent, people like how, and I think it's authenticity that gets me where I
Mm.
need to be. And that will get you the
Yeah.
love you need because I do love myself. So, I think that everybody,
Mhm.
I wish everybody understood that, but I don't, even that is love. I still love them. I mean, because you never know what people are dealing with. But unfortunately, in a society we're in, I think people put a high priority on material and a lot of other superficial things
Yeah.
that can keep you from finding the true meaning of love.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Like
a
number of
product problem.
followers,
Yeah.
applause, different things like
Cool.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Which that's
Yeah.
all cool, but it just shouldn't be the
It's
main
nice.
focus. Yeah. It just shouldn't be the main
Yeah.
focus.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah, it kind of, I feel like this ties in because I did want to talk about your song Dedication,
Hmm.
which is featuring Tamal and I'm sorry, Rex, right? I'm saying
Rex.
his name right?
Yep. Yeah, you
Yeah.
are. You're correct.
So
Rex.
in that song, there was a line that stood out to me. I thought it was great, but there's
Hmm.
always like one thing that my brain kind of latches onto, um,
Hmm.
especially when there's like a lot, because you said a lot in that song. But you said I
Yeah.
thought I was a cornball, but I
Hmm.
was really Warhol.
Hmm.
So at
Right.
some point from
Hmm.
that, it seems like you didn't have that. I don't, I
Confidence.
mean, just from that line, I don't want to
Right.
assume, but it comes across that you had an evolution of your self love, of your
Hmm.
identity, and
Hmm.
seeing yourself differently.
Hmm. Well, good point. I'll
And why
explain
did
it.
you think you were a cornball? Like, is that something society gave? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
What?
cut you off.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
no, no. Perfect. No, and exactly. Well, good question. So I'm going to answer it because I'll be clear. I always had a strong confidence, which
Okay.
enabled me to be on point. I was never like thinking I was bad, but here's the thing, and I want to get this completely right, and it's going to be good because here's the clarification.
Yeah.
And where I grew up in the inner city, there's a lot of smart people, but there's also a lot of emphasis on being what quote unquote cool is. What is looked at as
Mm-hmm.
cool? What is looked
Yeah.
at as the in thing? Not only where I'm from, but just in general in
Yeah.
cities and states and everything, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times being an artist is very not normal. You're looked at the way when you're painting pictures or you're a writer or you're an artist. I think a lot of times there's this opposite effect from where they're like, wow, that's different. So that is kind of like it's weird to us. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where the cornball idea comes in because I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying literally that I felt that way, but people would talk would ignorant people would have that. I always was cool, but the thing about it is if a person wants to stay in the house and write a song as opposed to go outside and talk crap about whatever the latest gossip is, believe it or not, there are some people that would be like, oh, that's kind of cornballish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when I said that, I said, thought I was cornball, but really was Warhol. Warhol is
Mm-hmm.
obviously a prominent artist. When I
Yes.
said I thought I was cornball, this is going back to adolescence, like youth, because I always had confidence from inside, my family, everything. But outside, sometimes your peers and sometimes a lot of stuff, it would be more like, "It's what are you doing?" All of those guys praise me now,
Yeah.
but I'm saying in order for and this is a good point of this, in order to walk the path less traveled, you have to
Mm.
be willing to be different and you have to be confident. I'm here because I am
Yeah.
confident, but when I say that in that line, there was a time where I was mentally this only when I was a kid that I mentally was like, damn, what's up? Why would I be different? Why would I be weird? Why do they consider it that? I'm just doing me. I'm
Yeah.
just being the artist. I was a born artist. It's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
was always doing something different, and I always was like, okay, yeah, but I did other things. I had my Jordans. I was out having fun on the sports and playing ball, but I put a priority and an emphasis on making songs as a youth. Like I said, 14, 13, I had songs out, records, songs,
Yeah.
very locally popular as far as this city is concerned, especially here. And a lot of people at first didn't understand it, but as it grew, and as things excelled and it blossomed and I developed, I was Warhol. I was an artist. I was a great artist. So what you hear there is actually the cornball part is one part, but it's really more of I went from here. I thought it was cornball, but really was Warhol. I was
Yeah.
so far gone, me and my road dogs. So I was so far gone, like from regular society. Most artists are out of step with society. Tupac
Yeah.
Shakur is my favorite artist, right? But when Tupac spoke on a lot of things, they were never. It's never like it wasn't like okay, this is a popular thing to say. It was more
Mhm.
of this is what we have to do. I think Warhol. You know, um, I think Basquiat. I think many artists, this is what they did. It's an inconvenient truth. We just give you the taste of the truth, but it's a little more dressed up, nice, and understood. So when I say thought I was cornball, but really was Warhol, I think I actually incite the confidence as well because I'm saying like, yeah, I was incredible. But I do talk
Mhm.
about the mental, as this mental health awareness month, the mental struggles of
Yeah.
overcoming the obstacle of peer pressure of nowadays it'd be like bullying. That's something that people talk about because like
Yeah.
a lot of times it's like people press you like you should do this, you should do that. So I overachieved, and I think I began as I understood myself, I knew that I was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
mean, you really do. You have to have a very strong mind to be able to
mhm.
continue being different.
Yeah.
Because I think probably a lot of the people who were, oh, that's weird. Why don't you want to be out here hanging out with us? Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to
Right.
write? They probably had their own little, I don't want, I guess, quirks, like their own uniquenesses that they
Hmm.
probably were hiding. There,
Exactly.
I'm sure that they had all sorts of interesting thoughts and ideas
Hmm.
themselves.
Definitely. Definitely. But it takes a brave. I was a pioneer with it. I mean, it takes a
Yeah,
brave soul to actually execute those beliefs and those truths. It takes a more confident person.
yeah,
And I
it
think we
does.
live in yeah, I think we live in a society where that's kind of undervalued, and I'm glad because you know what? I fight for the artists. I fight for the common public too, but I fight for those individuals who might be a little weird. There's a difference between weird and different.
Yes.
Weird, they turn into a negative. It's funny how the mind mentally you can take a term
And make
and
it
turn it into
negative.
something, make it negative. But
Yeah.
being different is positive. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? Being different is what makes you unique. And
Yeah.
usually, I'm sure Bill Gates was different. I'm
Probably.
sure, I'm sure. I mean, there's a lot of stories that I read. I can tell you, I think everybody that ever did anything great was different.
Hmm.
so,
Yeah.
so I mean, but knowledge reigns supreme. So once you learn something like that, it's stuff like that you understand. But if you have a collective thought and you're dealing with people in group think, it may take you longer to get to that. So I urge everybody to continue to read, elevate your mind, and make sure that you kind of do some
Yes.
things on your own rules because it's going to help you with your mental health. It'll help you sustain your truth, and it'll help you live who you are because we're all individuals in our own ways.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
Definitely read. I actually did. I wanted to ask you some
Hmm.
tips for maintaining a positive sense of self and self love. But you did say
Hmm.
a couple things earlier in our conversation that stood out to me. You said your family supported you, and you also
Definitely.
said that you had a strong team.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Most definitely. From management to friends. I mean, hip hop is a culture, right?
Hmm.
So I happen to do the music side of it, but I also am pretty administrative, which a lot of people don't really know. But I'm very administrative, but I also work with a great team, that helps me. I kind of, when you're young doing it like that, it's kind of like, especially in the inner city, like you make the team without knowing it. So I had a lot of friends that pushed me. I had a lot of, they're fans before fans, but they're also a little more than fans because they're going to tell you,
Hmm.
hey, that might not be it. this might be it. That might not be it. You know what I mean? You get results based upon,
Mm,
critiques and ideas. And I
yeah.
always was independent, but I also had those things. And sometimes it's tough listening to criticism and trying to get everything right. But regardless, I think one thing you should always do is keep an open ear. And yes, the team and family, a lot of people were there to kind of like, I mean, hip hop is a big thing. So, when I started,
Mhm.
we were doing lunch tables and mixtapes, doing all these things. It's a talent. People are impressed by talent. But
Yeah.
what happens is after a while, before you know it, when you're doing something you love, you kind of go into it blind, and then you realize there are some people there that have been with you from the beginning, and you kind of they have a place, and then now you're organized. Oh, they're personal manager here, business manager here. Oh, I have a
Yeah.
home studio. My engineer Seraphine, who I've been with for years. Eileen. There's so many different people that are around me that help me progress and give me the real deal. And I think that that's something that people that's one of the big things going on as an independent. But you have to be
Yeah.
open. You have to be open to
Mm.
listening. Be a good listener like you.
That's funny. That was it when I was in high school, and that was when people started complimenting me and saying, "Oh, you're such a good listener."
Right.
I, yeah, I do like listening. Um, so what about for the artist who doesn't have that team? Because there
Hmm.
are artists who really feel like they're not understood and have struggles trying to find that team and finding their niche, and then they get discouraged. I mean,
Hmm.
people who are really passionate about their art and it's not going so well could even feel
Hmm.
suicidal, really, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
um
Yeah. It's tough.
so yeah, it can be really tough. So
Hmm.
any
I got some
tips?
solutions. Yeah. Yeah. No. No doubt. I got some solutions. First, I mean, depends on what type of artist you are. If you're a
Yeah.
music artist, ever so prominent records, I'm progressing and working with all types of artists. If you got talent, I keep my ear open. I'll tell you that. But, but it's, if you don't have a team, first of all, let me be clear. Let me play devil's advocate here. Independent isn't for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Being an independent, particularly independent artist, like it, and nowadays, I personally think it's one of the only ways to go because I think the way technology has developed, no matter what you do, you could be I got a person dedication. A song was played by a woman. I think she's from Finland, and she made cakes. And she took my song and she made cakes to the song and use dedication
Oh.
as a reel. So like, my point is dedication is like a universal theme. So it's like no matter
Mm.
what you're doing, if you're dedicated, you're gonna stick to it. Now, if you don't have a team, that's fine. Being independent, back to the point, I mean, not lose it. Being independent isn't for everybody, but in the beginning, the only way you're gonna get even if you want it to be signed or you want to get it, you have to find a way to display your talent. So, I mean, so you may not have a team. Okay, that's fine. Then you have to be your team. I'll mention something. Before I had a team, I was, I was always, this goes back to the self-love and
Mm.
pushing yourself. Now, don't get me wrong. It could be tough. You find some trials, but
Yeah.
there's many things like getting a job, doing other things. You can't be doing art all day and think, oh yeah, I'm gonna do art and this is gonna be it. That ain't the way it works. I've had so many odd jobs. All those times when I was teenager and stuff, I was working different jobs to put money into studio time, not spending
Yeah.
money on my extra kicks. I'm going in there like, okay, I got something to save, but I'm living at home. I got this job. I really think I had an entrepreneurial mind,
Yeah. Sounds like
even
it.
though I'm an artist. Yeah, even though I'm an artist, but my thing was always, let me put a little money into this. That is how you can formulate a team without having a team. But today, if I was 15, if I had Instagram when I was 14, I'm not that old, but when I was 14, if I had Instagram, it, it it's different, man. Or TikTok, because like, it depends. I mean, I'm talking about music, but if
Mhm.
I think in any film of independence, the tool and the way that you can kind of get a team going is by really putting everything into yourself and pushing it. And I feel like good art gets to its
Yes,
destination.
me
I'm
too.
sorry. I feel like good art gets to its destination. And and if not, and you're getting discouraged, you're gonna get that. So meditate, slow down, love
Slow
yourself, take
down.
it one day, please slow down. Let's talk about some solutions here. Sleep, work out. I'm a big workout guy. The endorphins that get up from working out
Yeah.
are so crucial to your development in your mind. I talk about this all the time with my close people. Is there's so many things to keep yourself up. We live in a tough world, and there's a lot of things that can make you pessimistic. Recently, us dealing with this woman's rights thing. There's so many things that I'm just like, what? Are you kidding me? But when you get yourself right with from the workout to eating right to sleeping, everything starts with sleep and water. You know what I'm saying? If you can master sleep, water, and putting a little bit of working out into your mind, it really helps. It really can change your mood. And you might be sunny side up, but I think that that's a big thing too to attracting a team. It's all about the self love and really pushing it out
Yeah.
and really putting money into what you're doing and sacrificing. Know
Yeah.
what you want. Know what you want. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, definitely invest in yourself, but the sleep is true. There's just so many benefits.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
when we don't have enough sleep, we're overly stressed, our mind's not alert,
Mhm. Yep. Yep. Our
you
body is
know.
our body is tapped. I see people with these memes. Team no sleep. I'm
I
like,
am so tired of it.
I sleep.
It's like the
I mean,
entrepreneurial motto. And I'm like, am I a bad entrepreneur that I want 8 hours of sleep?
yeah. I
I
mean,
don't think
well,
so.
Gary V, who's a big entrepreneur, he said that, if you should get 6, 7 hours, you should do that. But what you need to do was while you're up is be up. You got to be up before
Go
everybody
in.
else, and then you get it all done. But you should sleep. I get the idea because I mean, there's times when I don't sleep as much. If I have a show or something like that, and it
Right.
happens a lot. It happens a lot. But when I'm regularly moving, I
Right.
understand the value of great sleep, and that's why I'm able to do good underneath those circumstances because you keep your body going on and on and on. I was just talking to this with my manager the other day. You keep your body going on and on and on and on, and you're at this crazy pace. Especially as you get older, you're just gonna burn out, and then you're not gonna feel
Yeah.
good too. You have to make sure your endorphins are up, your your feel good, things of your body are up, and sleeping and working out and water and good diet does help. It does
Yeah.
help. Don't sleep on those things because you'll come up with $1 million ideas, practically
After a
billion
good
dollar
night's
ideas.
rest.
You have a good night's rest. So
Yes.
there's something. That's something right there.
Yes.
Just to, what I mean. I think it's underestimated. I think it's
Yes.
underestimated.
I
You know.
agree, and it is, and in New York, it's definitely a hustle and grinds, and
Mm-hmm.
but that's when our body repairs itself, you know,
Facts.
and that disease prevention and everything, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for anything
Mm-hmm.
from cancer to, you know, other small things like just a little cold, like the common cold,
Yeah.
right? The
Yeah. Yeah.
sleep, it builds our immunity, it repairs our system. So
Yep.
I love that you talked about sleep. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
anytime, no problem. I
Yeah.
mean, it's crazy. Yeah, yeah. It's just, I definitely talk about different things. I mean, I think sometimes it's a common sense answer. It's something that I think people, you're talking about how can you do it without a team? you have to be in your best fit, you know, self in any way. And you know, you're gonna be able to, you can't, you know, like Nipsey said, the marathon continues. You can't be stuck in the same place all the time.
Right.
If you keep it up, it's all about consistency. I mean, that's
Yeah.
really, you might not strike the iron, you may not strike the iron the first 5 years, but you could explode in the six and never look back. Never, especially in the
Yeah.
years of technology. Technology can catapult you quick. All you need
Yeah.
is one. You know what I mean? So
True.
yeah, sleep's part of it. On to the next.
Yes. So,
On to the next.
I feel like I tell everyone that, and I think you've talked about it. You were kind of honest with yourself growing up. You had confidence, and you were willing to go right when other people were doing other things. So
Right.
I feel like, huh?
Right. No, I said right. Yep, correct.
Yeah. So I feel like the first step in healing is being able to be honest with yourself.
Right.
But how does art and healing, how do you see it as going together? Is it easier? I mean, I feel like for myself as an artist, that it's easier to be vulnerable, to put my emotions into a photograph. Or I also write. I'm a poet.
Hmm.
I don't really promote that really much. It's not something a lot of people
Nice.
know, but I do write, and it's
Nice.
good. It's like a release.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Hmm.
um, yeah, how would you suggest that someone does that, uses art to face things that maybe they're uncomfortable facing or admitting?
Hmm. That's a great question because especially when you're talking about even I have an album called ESP, Shameless Plug, but that album is a very introspective album because it's the side of town that I'm from, and it also stands for extrasensory perception. But anyway, my point is this piece, this piece I put it out in 2016 is very impactful, and a lot of it has to do with my life. Like, you know, the album, I'm very vulnerable on the album. I would
Mm,
say even more vulnerable than I am. And you see some of that on this new one, but it's I'm even like it's super vulnerable, and it's a good question because it's very hard to open up a vein and
mm-hmm.
bleed in front of the whole world.
Yep.
But it's the thing that makes you most relatable. Any artist, if you from any artist you think about as the greats, you know, from Jimi Hendrix to
Yeah.
there's just so many that they're the best. They were the most vulnerable. Now, how do you get it to translate through your art? I mean, it's really hard, man. You really have to have a very, very honest, honest
Yeah.
approach. You have to critique yourself. You have to, you got to look in the mirror and be like, yeah, that's what it was. And I do think that's an issue because I think like there's a lot of great music out there, but
Mm-hmm.
most of the artists' greatest work, is when they're able to talk about stuff like that. Like I feel like I've done a lot of great stuff, but I feel like I'm still reaching toward my masterpiece. I always feel that way. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that all has to do with there's all types of different ways as your life lives and you put music into your life or you put it into your art or your photography or you're telling. I mean, photography tells stories. So let's talk about
It
yours.
does. Yeah.
Photography is a I'm a storyteller as well, but
Yeah.
I tell stories dedicated. When I said started was Cornball was really Warhol. I think the reason you connect with that is because that is storytell is.
It was. Yeah.
Art, it tells stories at its best. Now, when you're telling your story, your particular story, it's first person, you're being vulnerable. So you have to be, whatever you study, whether you're a Christian, a Muslim, whatever, or you don't have no faith at all, whatever, there is some form of, this is what we're going to get to. Here we go. Now I'm hitting it. There is some form of spiritual
Mm-hmm.
connection you must have to do
Yeah.
that. I don't care if you're an atheist, okay? There's something inside that you must be willing to withdraw in
Mm-hmm.
order for you to do that. It's not easy. I myself,
No.
when I did ESP, when I was writing it, certain songs, I'm like, ugh, you know what I mean? But it's like, and then you put it out, but it's my best album to date. And people really gravitated to it, but I think I was the most vulnerable. The question is, how do you put it into? I think you lead with the spirit. You got to do something. You got to meditate. You have to find a way to shut your eyes and tap in to
Yeah.
some type of spirit or feeling or whatever you want to call it within you in order to make a piece like that. And I think that's what it starts
Yeah.
with. No matter, and when I say spirit, whether you're atheist, whatever, it don't matter. There is something that moves us. I don't care what
Yeah.
nobody says. It don't gotta be God, don't gotta be, it's whatever. But there's something that we feel that we're in tune with as humans,
Mhm.
and whatever that it factor is,
Yeah.
you know it. Everybody, it might be different for everybody, as far as what that it factor is. But you have to step into that it factor and tap into the soul. Because if you don't tap into the soul, there's no way in heck you're going to be able to open up those veins and do what you got to do. And
Yeah.
other than that, you can make a lot of regular fun party generic music. That's why I think a lot of our art and a lot of art today, not all, but a lot of art is shallow because they're scared. They're
Yeah.
scared. They're scared.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard. Once again, it goes back to thought I was
Yeah.
cornball, but really was raw. But a lot of people are scared. Like you said, a lot of those people did have those talents and those little things that they wanted to reveal too, while they were steady, like, oh, what are you doing over there? And guess what? Those are the people that left their dreams on the table. They left their dreams, they're probably mad people now, very upset, probably doing
Yeah,
some
it's
other
true.
things
They probably, unless they've started, living their
to
life
pursue. Yeah,
in
to
pursuit
pursue.
of
Yeah.
their desires and their interests and their
Yeah.
purpose. Yeah.
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 I've never been a coward. I've never been a coward. I mean, it is what it is. And my feelings is it takes a lot of, you got to be brave to
Yeah.
do those things. And I'm definitely, you know, I'm sure everybody deals with it. And anybody who is scared, that's fine too. It's fine to be
It's okay
scared, and it's
it's
fine to,
normal to be
yeah,
scared. It's
yeah,
normal.
it's
You're
normal.
like, what am I
Yeah,
doing here? People are gonna what? But then
yeah,
but then there is someone that you're going to help. And I feel like for
exactly,
me, that is
exactly.
really the biggest part of it is, well, this isn't about me. It is about me because it is about my healing, but
Hmm.
it's also someone else
Hmm.
is going, at
Hmm.
least there's at least, the world's got how many billion people on it? There's at least one
Yeah,
other person
right.
that has, gone through something similar, not exact, that can be helped from that. Like, oh wow, he felt like that too.
Right, right. And you tap in. And that's that spiritual thing I'm telling you about too. Because you're not only tapping into their mind, you're tapping into their soul. You're
Yeah.
tapping into their
Mhm.
spirit. That's how you get a fan. A real
Yeah.
fan, everybody just like each other. People just like me, just like you, just like whatever. But once you have the art enables you to kind of channel something that not everybody has. So you have to, I do three things with my music: reflect reality, prove that I'm the illest, and uplift for the future. And those are principles that I live by. So I do those things within the context of my art. And I think if I touch a lot of people along the way, or if somebody is inspired by it, and I hear this, the ultimate compliment, from any artist or supporter is, hey, I was feeling this way, and you articulated exactly
Exactly.
how I felt.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's it. And you're right, it is bigger. It is bigger than us. That's why we got to keep going. I mean, if that don't drive you, that will drive you to form a team too. Recognizing that it's bigger than you and
Mm-hmm.
striking the iron while it's hot based upon what you're feeling and what you're channeling in the universe. You know, that's
Yeah.
that's that's the key right there.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like once, so I have a book that I'm working on and it's not ready yet.
Wow.
But
That's
when I
okay.
started writing it, I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, God, I have to go there. I have to tell that.
Yeah.
But once you start writing and you get the first couple paragraphs out, you just kind of like, all
Right,
right,
right.
and
Yeah,
this is
yeah, yeah.
how it's going to be, and you just
It's
kind of go
flowing.
with it. It's the starting part, and
Yeah,
that's something
definitely.
that a lot of people say in business. Even is the start is what stops most people. People say that that's like a very common phrase, but
Yeah.
it's also that way in being vulnerable, in
Mm-hmm.
being an artist, or especially in our healing. It's like that
Yeah.
start,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that
The start is the
first,
hardest. It's the hardest.
because it
It's
can
the
be
hardest,
real
actually.
ugly. I mean, it can be
Yeah.
ugly, ugly, like
But once you start,
really
yeah,
ugly.
right, really ugly. Not to cut you off, I just want to say, once you start, it's gonna hit like an avalanche.
Yes.
You know, once you start, it'll pick up the momentum. Everything will start to flow.
Yeah.
But you are sure right. That whatever quote that comes from, it is. It's the hardest to actually start. But once you start, you know, you're Picasso, baby. You go walls to Picasso. You know, it just
Yeah.
starts floating, just floating on the page. And you know, it's gonna be. I want to put this book out. Is this
Wait a
book?
second. I'm sorry, Johan.
Yep.
You're breaking up
Yep.
a little bit.
Hold on.
Oh, I think you're back.
Okay, great. And then it's like if you're doing a book, it's all right. Do I put this out? Do I feel that's probably the only thing after because you obviously have got the vulnerability to get the flowing of it on the pages. But
Yeah.
now the only issue is same thing with the album, which is even more graphic, I guess, or visual, is now it's like, oh, I gotta put this out. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So, but
I'll
we're
put
gonna
it
do it.
out.
We're gonna do it. Yeah, yeah, and you're gonna finish. Keep it out. It's dope that you're writing a book. I mean, book is, but it's okay that you're not done. Trust me, it takes a while
Oh,
to get a
oh
book.
yeah. No, I need an editor and I need the right editor for this. So yes, and then it will be done. But I
Kudos,
mean I'll be
kudos.
putting it out. It's just like when I first sat down, I thought I was gonna do one thing. And I don't know
Hmm.
if that happens to you as an artist where you sit down and you start writing a song, you're like, I'm gonna write about this today. But then it
Right.
somehow just goes in a totally different direction. You're like,
Oh no,
what?
yeah,
Yeah.
no, it happens. It definitely
Yeah.
happens. I try to stay focused, but it happens, and it's not that you're not focused; it's that your feelings might take you in a different direction. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
not logical. You can art is more emotional than logical. Sometimes it's a little more emotional
Yeah,
than
there is
logical.
emotion. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So, you're painting emotion most of the time. But it does take logic because you got to have the words and the clever, at least in hip hop, whatever. But when you're writing a book, same thing. You have to have the literature, the subject matter, whatever
Mhm.
you're bringing to the table. But you're
Yeah.
expressing. So, when you get hit with that emotion, it might interfere with the logic a little bit.
Well,
You
it,
know,
it wasn't so much that. It was like I felt like it was really supposed to go in a different direction.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
assume, yeah. But that's how it
Yeah.
is. That's,
Mhm.
and I'm sure it's fine either way. I think,
Yeah.
as long as you're coming from the heart, I look forward to checking it out.
Okay. Thank you.
Hmm.
So I had so much fun talking with you though. This is
Likewise,
good. I'm
definitely.
happy that I was able because I feel like, as a man and then as an artist, it's a really
Mhm.
great way to wrap up mental health awareness month because it does have a lot, as you were saying, as an artist, you're working on those emotions and that's really how you can heal, even if you're not a professional artist. right?
Yeah.
You don't have to
Very
be
true.
a professional artist like you are, you know, just
Right.
even in your own home, you can just dabble in
Mm-hmm.
art, and that's gonna create so
Mm-hmm.
much healing. Because I mean, it's research based. When you put the
Mm-hmm.
art and the physical with the
Mm-hmm.
actual emotional work, it actually
Mm-hmm.
promotes healing. So yeah,
Definitely.
anyone can do it, and that's the beauty of art. It's for
Mm-hmm.
anyone,
Yeah,
and
no, definitely. And
yeah,
it's a heavy, it's a great, it's ventilation,
yes,
it's therapy, if you will.
it is. Yeah,
It is therapy.
it is.
So, yeah, and you don't have to be doing it professional. You don't have to be. And if you decide later on, okay, I'm going to put this piece of art out later on in your years just because you decided to do it, you have the beautiful internet and Instagram world and Instagram live, and you could do it. You could throw it out there and you could expose it if you chose to. But like you said, you write and you do poetry and it's just an outlet, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's an outlet. And may all artists keep creating, around the world. Just
Yes,
keep doing that and keep loving yourself. And
yes,
for Mental Awareness Month, just keep your mind on up and up and protect your heart, protect your soul, make sure
yes,
that you're very, very, very mentally strong, and you understand that love conquers all, and progress is the
yes,
process, and you
yes.
just keep doing that, and I think it'll be fine. I think it's great to wrap up the Mental Health Awareness Month for men at this time, and I think a lot of men, especially men, don't stress yourself too much, man. Don't feel like you have to have the pressure of the world on your shoulders.
Mhm.
We know historically men have been, since the caveman days, have just been totally have to do everything. You don't always have to do that. Sometimes you can just sit down, enjoy your thoughts, progress, let the weight go, and then allow yourself to elevate and to enjoy just chilling out. I mean, that's part of life as well. Life is not working every second. Life is not appreciating the loved ones around you. Life is not, trying to make $1 million every single chance you get. It's also about resting, rewinding, reclining, treating yourself and just doing things to be mentally on point, and resting and sleeping. I mean, just keep that in mind, man, and just take care of yourself, and I mean that in all the greatest honesty. You know what I'm saying? This
Yeah.
guy, KR, electric
Electric
relaxation.
relaxation. That sounds
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah. Well, he's saying that because he says I look like Q-Tip from Tribe Called Quest.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yes, yes, yes. So, can you share with people how they can connect with you? I really appreciate you spending time and chatting this evening and sharing your thoughts and your insights. But how can people connect with you?
You can connect at jahannostra.com. Um, I'm also at Jahan Nostra on Instagram, at Jahan Nostra on Facebook, everywhere. That's JAHANNOSTRA. In this time, I want to give a shout out to all the women, around the world right now. Men are all right, but women are God. So the reality is, and I truly believe that. So, the reality is, I just want to send my heart to them and everything that's going on right now. I think it's kind of whack. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. But it is Men Mental Health Awareness Month. So, what I was saying about men is men need to understand to not try to put so much on their shoulders in their mind,
Mhm.
because you have the woman that can do
Yeah.
way more and many more things as well. And in these times, I think it's great that both can express a great unity, whatever the case may be or whatever we're celebrating. I think everybody's mental health is just so important, and understanding that. And I just want to spread love, particularly to that situation, because that's something that's been on my mind lately. So just wanted to say that before I ended.
Yes, I love that you talked about the partnership because that is so true. We really, as women, can I mean, that's way we were created, right? Well, it depends on who you
Mhm.
talk to, but to help the
Yeah.
man. But then the man also is there to help the woman. So it's really a
Mhm.
partnership. And so a lot of times as men and women, we feel like we have to do it all on our own. Like, the
Exactly.
women are like, why do I have to do everything? And the man's like,
Right.
why do I have to work and do it all?
Yeah.
Right? But in
Yeah.
reality, it's a partnership.
Yeah.
If it's healthy, if it's healthy.
Yeah. If it's healthy,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. If it's healthy, you know. But that's what everything has to be healthy. And
Yeah.
that's really the key, relationships, but just in general, I think health is a majority of what we talked about here, just in a different
Yeah.
way in relations to art.
Yeah.
And I don't think people always link those things. So I love this subject, and I appreciate you having me, and this is a great interview, and I think that it was good because it touched on a different subject,
Yeah.
which is not, people don't always put those things together. They're all together.
Yes.
So it's a blessing, and let's keep uplifting. Let's keep
Yes.
building each other up and not tearing
Yes.
anyone down. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up. Let's get it popping. Let's keep it up.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. Get it
Thank you.
poppin'. I love
Get
it. The
it popping.
partnership is poppin'.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
Later.
you again so much for your time. Yes, I do like giving people something a little different to help them, because I know there's more than one way to heal, and art is one form of healing. So yes. So thank you
Yes.
so much for your time. I really
Thank
I
you.
had so much fun. I'm so glad we met. Like,
Yes.
fun.
Likewise. Yes. And we'll keep building. Definitely. We'll be in contact.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. Shout out to everybody that joined us on this Instagram live. And we appreciate you, and be happy and healthy. That's it.
Yes.
Blast
Yes.
off. Blast off.
Yes.
See you later.
All right. Peace. Have a good night.
Peace. You
Thank
too.
you.
All righty.